At the dawn of time, single-celled creatures emerged from the primordial ooze to colonize the Earth. The fertile soil they found was beautiful, dangerous, and wild. However, it was also super lame because they didn't have the concept of numbers with which to rate things. Now, in the year of our spaghetti monster in the sky, 2025, two intrepid brothers have come forth to solve the world's problem. No longer will items go unrated. No longer will everyday objects escape the rule of numerical law. This is Review Everything.
Hello and welcome to Review Everything, the podcast where we take everything from across the limitless expanse of existence and put it on a tier list. We are your hosts, two more middle-aged white dudes with a podcast. You know, pretty original. Not a lot of us out there.
Do you consider yourself middle-aged?
I mean, middle age is different for everybody, right? We don't know. We don't know when we're going to go. 70 seems realistic for me. I think that's a good goal.
You know what the line looks like, though? Because if you made it to this point, statistically, you're going to, like, if you look at the distribution, it's weird because you have child deaths, right? And so it's one of the reasons why the numbers are lower. But if you made it to this point, your bar is actually longer, so it's not like an even distribution.
I have always said that I'm going to choke on biscotti when I'm around 80. That's something that my wife and I have doubled down on that we're pretty sure is going to happen. She baked me biscotti for my birthday this year, so I don't know if that's meant as a veiled threat or if she's training me so that I last longer.
Stop eating super hard sweet treats. Biscotti's not a good food. Why do you like biscotti?
It's delicious. It dips in coffee well. Oh, I love anything that I can dip in coffee.
Wait, are you the one who ordered the fucking airplane biscotti like to have at your house?
No, but I did bake it myself. I found the recipe for biscotti.
Why?
And then I made my own
I know
biscotti.
someone who like ordered it so they could just have it. Don't get
That's
me wrong.
ridiculous.
I eat it on the plane, but because it's life affirming, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything on
It's
a plane.
part of what you
I'll
do.
eat anything you put in front of me on a plane. I don't care what it is.
Some international flights have some weird foods, man, that they try to like pull off.
Sometimes they just wake you up and they just toss it in your face. They're like, here you go.
Yeah, that's true.
Like every time I fly to Dublin for work,
Yeah.
I'll wake up and there's just somebody, they're like, here you go, here's a breakfast sandwich. And I'm like, does it have meat? They're like, I don't know, here it is. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm eating this because now it's in my hands.
British Airline feeds you like 7 times. It's an absurd amount of food. I don't know. I guess it's all on the plane. Do you ever think about that? So all the
That's why they can't fly as far. One of the tanks is just full of bangers and mash. They don't put fuel in
like
it. It's just bangers and
pre-processed
mash
or
in a tank.
post-processed?
Post. Like just heat it up on the side of the plane in a big tank.
Okay, what would be your guess on a 6-hour flight, let's say from the West Coast to the East Coast, of the metabolic loss of mass of the people who get on, the food that you consume? In my head, it has to be less than it was when you left, not accounting for fuel, right?
Because you're burning off a lot of heat because the plane's in the air.
Well, I just mean like humans. Like how much collectively is 300 humans going to lose in things that are evaporated like through the air systems and out the plane? Otherwise, it's a closed system, right? So like the metabolic process would be the only thing.
So we should weigh a plane before and after it leaves and take away the fuel that it's
I'm
gonna
sure someone's
burn.
done it. Like, what's your guess?
This
I'm
is
going to look it up later.
Okay, this is hard because I don't know what a good number for that would be. Let's say 300 pounds.
Wow. How about a
Non-fuel.
percentage? How about a percentage so we can normalize it?
Okay,
300
let's
pounds.
see.
Fuck off. This guy does math for a living. 300. What am I supposed to do with 300 pounds? That is dependent on every fucking... What are you talking about, 300 pounds? Think about it for a second and realize that you're dumb and tell me you were dumb for saying 300 pounds and not giving me a ratio.
We were talking about British Airlines, so, you know, pounds seemed appropriate.
Money? Oh my... Never mind. I'm done with this.
We're going to talk about losing a lot of money
Who
on
are you?
airplanes
Who are
today.
you? Who are you?
I'm Ashton Macaulay. I'm a writer of really good mid-list adventure fiction. Across from me is this guy.
Pretty good, yeah. Hey, I'm Connor from work. I am the last bag of Twizzlers in the last Blockbuster in Oregon.
Oh, Twizzlers are really good. I'm a strawberry Twizzler guy.
I am too. I don't know. Living in the Pacific Northwest, what are they? Red vines? I know both are gross.
We have both, yeah.
But I know both are gross, but red vines are objectively fucking awful. Twizzlers are just bad, right?
Well, so red vines have the advantage of you can drink soda through them, and that's kind of a fun trick when you're a kid. You bite the ends off and then use it as a straw.
We did that with Twizzlers too. It's just a smaller hole.
But they're smaller hole. You want bigger hole. You get more in you. I did also rabbit hole one time on like what is in red vines and the secret formula behind them. I don't remember much of it, but I remember like I went down Wikipedia for a day
I'm
when I
pretty
should have
sure
been
it's one of
working.
the couple foods that RFK, like the red band, actually affected.
Yeah, well, that and Cheetos. I don't know if you've seen the new Cheeto bags, but they look. I mean, they don't look as appetizing, but it will be very interesting to eat flaming hot Cheetos that look bland.
They're a different color now.
They're gonna offer 2 flavors. They're gonna, or well, 2 bags. They're gonna offer the OG with all the dye in it, and then another one that doesn't have the dye in it.
I thought it's illegal now.
I think they're called Naked.
Yeah, they had to remove artificial dyes, red 40, and switch to like paprika. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're like yellow orange hue.
Mm-hmm. Super interesting.
Fuck you.
I guess we have a guest on the pod today. This is
Oh,
Alan.
A-Town.
Can you give me a quick rating on this guy?
I mean, you know I'm a fan. Man,
Look at this guy.
he's
He's
I
pretty-
don't know. He's all consuming of your life, but like he's a good little dog.
I'm
Don't-
here to say some hard opinions. Okay, everybody, I'm gonna tell you some shit that you blue hairs aren't gonna. Okay, buddy. All right, let's just.
Oh, those blue hairs. I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
old people. I forgot we got called blue hairs.
All right. So today we're doing. I think we've had some good warm up banter. You know, I'd score it at like a solid B tier. We got into it.
Wow,
We're
okay.
doing things that are lost.
I thought that things that
And
went missing. Kind
Things
of
that
same
went
thing.
missing works too. Yeah. Things that went missing, things that are lost. This was a suggestion from you. And before we get into it, I'm kind of curious, like, why? Did you have something in mind when you were thinking about this? Or is this just you think about things that are missing a lot?
I don't know. Can we talk about the Indian in the cupboard? Have we talked about that?
Oh, I had that on VHS, and you could unlock the VHS with the little plastic key.
And there's a little indigenous person in there.
Yeah. Is that missing? Is that missing media?
I think when it popped into my head when you asked me a topic, and so the topic could have been closely related to the thing we had just done. And so I think that was a part of it. And then I pictured some little people stealing things, like living in thimbles or like drinking beer out of thimbles.
The Borrowers.
Yeah.
There's an amazing movie called The Borrowers. That's a live action.
The sequel to Indian in the Cupboard.
Maybe.
That's how we got to it. But I didn't choose anything creepy or morose for the most part.
Yeah. I also avoided going so straight down the middle for me would have just been like my lost innocence or going into childhood more. And I was like, you know what? No, fuck it. I'm gonna go deep on one thing today and one thing only. So we'll get into that. But I think you're gonna go first. So hit me with what you got.
Hit us in the tittus? All right. The first one, you don't know what this is. And before I tell you the topic, I'm going to do a quiz. And it's going to be focused on female health, female reproductive health, and just the basics of female anatomy and function.
Okay, now I see why you wanted to talk to my wife about this when we went out to dinner, because you thought this would be really funny. Oh, God damn it. God damn it.
How do you feel going into it? Because I know, okay, actually, can I say? Because I think, based on the surprise quizzes I did in the past, I know how progressive you are, right? And so I know you know Anthony Bourdain. I know you did not eat eggs before you got on that plane. And I know for a fact...
I did eat eggs before I got on that plane. So many eggs.
I know for a fact that you're a little bit of a white knight. And so I expect you not to ace this, because there are things in here that I did not know. Even directionally, I was off on, but... I'd say, let's say we get through 8 of them, 7 out of 8, easy for you.
Okay. All right. Can I ask how this connects to things that are lost?
I'm going to tell you at that. I mean, I can tell you now. No, I'm going to tell you at that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get into. So I'll tell you this. What it feels like is those Jimmy on the street bits where they ask people on the street things they should know, and then because they're being asked on the spot, they don't know. Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen to me. But I promise you, I will not look up any answers. I will let myself be lambasted for the pod. Let's go.
Look, I'm not going to Kimmel you, man.
Who used to Kimmel me?
You're not going to get Kimmeled here. Like, if you don't know these answers, there's no camera in front of you. I mean, there is, but we have time. And so if you don't know these, you generally don't know them. And it's not because you're being surprised.
Yeah. Alan's going to be disappointed in me. And that's a lot for me, you know?
All right. Let's start easy. This one, I'll tell you, it's a trick question, but I'm not going to hold you accountable for the trick. What's menopause? Sorry.
What's menopause? It's when women stop having periods when they get older and their body stops doing that thing. It can cause a lot of hormonal fluctuation and nonsense.
Do you have, there is a medical definition that we're going to talk about because it kind of sucks and it's important, but do you have a guess as to if you had to build a business rule for it, if you had to create a query for it,
okay,
what would that be?
So select star from women
where
Oh, this is interesting because I'm assuming it's something. Something has to die or like
I'll give
be
you
shed.
give you a hint. Based on the definition, menopause happens once on a specific minute or day, and then after that's over, it's post menopause.
Is it when the last eggs are created? No, because the eggs are all. No, hold on. Eggs are all there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it when you
Are
shed?
they? I've had questions for you.
Is it when you shed your uterine wall for the last time?
Yes, and then there's a condition after. So that's the primary condition. And so add some time to your query. Add a time component.
More than 30 days after that last shedding, and it doesn't regenerate or something to that effect?
You're really close. You did get on this one. So this one sucks, and I'll tell you why when we get to the actual topic.
Okay.
The technical definition is it is a thing that happens discreetly, like once. That's not how you use discreetly. It is 1 year after your last period, which we'll talk about because that means you have just gone a whole year without a core hormone that you've had your entire life. And before you get that diagnosis, which is required for things like insurance to get hormonal therapy or others, you have to wait a year at essentially 0 levels of this thing and feel awful before you get the label to do something about it.
It's awful. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
I gotta pause this quiz real quick. Alan has decided now is the time he has to piss.
Go make Big P.
I'll be right back.
He did pretty good on that one. I was actually kind of
Never mind.
surprised. He is very progressive. Don't look at me when I'm talking. All right, so we're going to talk about eggs. I am really excited to ask him about follicles because I didn't really know what follicles were. I know they were there. I had a hunch. I thought they were. My guess probably would have been it's like something the egg attaches to, like a little tentacle that grabs the egg, which I don't think is correct, right? I can't do this the whole time. I am gonna ask him to describe the female anatomy. We'll probably have to cut it, but like as an author, I expect him to be able to use his words to paint us a labial picture that we see. I know that's only one component of it. I'm also very progressive. Oh man, this is fun. Hey man, where does estrogen come from?
Okay, all right. Estrogen. Well, let's
I
see.
do have ABCDs if you need them, but I don't expect you to need them.
So estrogen is a hormone, so I'm assuming your body generates it
Mhm.
somewhere.
Mhm.
And we can synthesize it and give it to people. Pituitary gland?
It was one of the 4 options.
Okay, all right, yep. What are the other ones?
It's not in the brain. How about that? This one's
Biscotti, by
important.
the way. Okay, all right, where does estrogen come from? Where does it come from?
Oh, sorry. Can I give you a hint? Because it'll help us. So, if menopause, and we're going to talk today, the perimenopause is what we're going to talk about, which is the time before menopause. And so, if you are losing estrogen in that period of time, running up to menopause, why would that happen? So, asking for where does estrogen come from?
So if you're
And
losing something, your uterus, does it come from your uterus?
I mean, no. So it comes from the eggs and the follicles, so the cells surrounding them. And so the important thing is the less eggs you have and the less follicles you have, the less estrogen you are creating because that's where it comes from. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
yep. Following so far?
How many eggs is a woman born with generally?
I know it's enough that selling them is a big deal and they go for a lot of money.
I don't think they're worth a lot because it's a scarcity.
I mean, well, it is though because you don't regenerate them. Donating sperm, you make a lot less money than donating eggs because it's like A, it's an invasive procedure, and
Okay.
B, you
That's
don't
fair. That's
have.
fair.
It's also why people freeze eggs too.
Yeah. I thought you meant like on the open market.
Just walk in. Hey, you want some eggs? Like I imagine it's like salmon roe, just in a big bucket.
Yeah, I got a family farm.
Okay, interesting. How many eggs? These are small. I can't decide what scale of unit I want to say for eggs. Is it less than 1,000?
Oh, it's not less than 1,000.
Okay. We're thinking the millions?
We are. It's 1 to 2 million. Something that I learned, and disclaimer, I don't know medicine things. This is interesting just because it has been a topic with me and my partner. And so she asked me to learn about it. And yeah, so the answer is 1 to 2 million. The interesting thing I was just going to go say, by the time you've hit puberty, I think it's down to like 300 to 400,000. Like you, by the time you're actually sexually reproductive, you've lost 60% of them, I think is the number. And I'm not quite sure why, but that seems kind of wild to me that you have all these and you don't have them, even though you haven't been throwing them out. So I kind of want to figure that out, but that surprised me.
Just a bunch
Do
of
you
eggs just hanging out.
do you know what a follicle is?
I don't. I have no idea what a I mean, like, I assume it's not a follicle, so I assume it's not a hair. Is
I
it
mean,
a hair?
that's a follicle. I don't know.
Is it like
Hairs at
a thing that
follicles.
is it a thing that looks like a hair? Here's what I'm picturing.
I mean,
You
wait.
know in Finding Nemo when they
Yeah.
lay the eggs inside the sea anemone? That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm picturing.
I
It's
don't
the
think
sea
you're that
anemone
far.
inside
Yeah,
the uterus.
you're not that far off. So it's a fluid-filled sac that contains an immature egg. My guess was kind of, I didn't picture it the same as you, like with the clownfish, but I did kind of picture like a wavy thing with like a little eye on it, like a tentacle.
Yeah.
What does the follicle do? You know, one of the things.
Does it? Okay, well, so
Actually,
if it's
do you
around,
remember the one thing?
yeah.
You dipshit.
I don't. I mean,
It creates
I'm
estrogen.
assuming
I just told you. It's one of the
Oh, that's
primary
right.
things that
Oh,
secretes
yeah, yeah, yeah.
estrogen.
Hey. That was a whole 5 minutes ago, all right? The ADHD took that. It was like, okay, all right. That's that's not going to be.
But that's the
Later,
important
let's
part for this whole conversation.
focus up. Okay, so it creates estrogen, and I don't know. It acts like a bouncer for bad sperm. It says, not you. You can't get in here.
No, I think that's wrong because I think the egg comes out of the follicle, so it helps to mature the egg, and then I think it sends it on its way when it's ready. Because doesn't
So
fallopian
it just
tube
throws it
each
out to
choose
the
two?
wolves.
Well, now we're getting a little bit farther from my source materials, so we're just guessing here. But yeah, it
Yeah.
feels about right.
Hey, everybody wants to hear two white guys speculate about what happens
Yeah.
inside of a woman's body.
But the important thing is we expect the 4 or 5 people to hit this might be white guys, middle-aged white guys, or maybe younger
So
who
we're
don't
doing
know
a
this
public service by
information.
educating them. Okay.
Yeah, so even though it's like this is coming from an empathetic, we don't know what we're talking about place, with the hopes that we plant a seed, not unlike a follicle, and that this is something that young men or old men now have a better idea on, maybe get curious, and can better support themselves or their partner.
Nice.
All right, last one. And this one is probably the most serious. As a progressive author who, for
So progressive.
a type of living, you paint word pictures, can you describe the human vagina to us?
Like in its entirety?
You don't have to use any medical words. Just, I want you to paint in your own language. It doesn't have to be medical, but what do we got going on down there?
That's a lot. Okay. You
It's
know
a-
the Sarlacc pit from
Yes.
Star Wars?
Hey, can I tell you
Boba
truth
Fett
real quick?
falls in there?
Can I
Yeah.
tell you, whenever someone says something like that, my default is like, yeah, I know Star Wars. I actually don't. I know Jabba from like the outside, but I don't know Star Wars that well.
So the Sarlacc pit is the big pit with the fleshy bits on it that people
Okay.
fall into, and then the tentacles pull them in, and then they slowly digest it over 1,000 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
it in its entirety? You just ripped other material and said it's that?
Well,
as a metaphor?
imagine that and curtains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, or is that the core of it to you?
Well, I mean, look, the core of it, that's where the babies come out. All right, you inside, and then that thing just opens up like the top of a tuna can, and just
Yeah.
and then they come
Wow.
out.
All right. This
Yeah.
probably won't be in it, but it is interesting to see you. Okay.
Describing a vagina on a podcast I know my wife is going to listen to, tough order.
Why
and
tough?
your
That-
wife.
Yeah, no, I think we're all excited to hear what you say, and you did it. My topic today is perimenopause. It is the period of time prior to menopause, which is a silly medical definition that sounds like it's pretty hurtful to women's health, but it is the time where you have you have lost enough eggs that your body has difficulty regulating consistently the estrogen, because the estrogen comes from the eggs and the follicles and the surrounding cells. By the time you get to, it can start in your 30s to your 40s, depending on a number of factors, including genetics. But yeah, it's a period of time, oftentimes starting in your 30s, which feels really young. But that is why we have things called geriatric babies or births. Which always seems like, why? That's kind of mean to call women that, but it's because the geriatric part of it is actually speaking to ovarian death. And so that's the language that I heard the most on at least the Core Source podcasts. It was, oh man, this podcast isn't very good. I've listened to other episodes, but it's like Diary of a CEO. For this one, they had a woman's panel on, and the guy just asked really, really dumb, pretty dumb questions. But I was a little surprised. The content from the actual doctors and practitioners was really good. So yeah. A lot of women start losing estrogen in their 30s. And you know what happens when you do that? When you start starving your body of a hormone that up until fairly recently we only thought was connected to the reproductive systems, but it's not. It affects a lot like every hormone. It hits every receptor and it does a lot of things that we are just starting to understand. One of the reasons we are just starting to understand it is because no time or money are really spent on women's health. It wasn't even until I think the 90s that women had to be included in broad medical studies because they were considered a deviation of men. I'll give you an example. I think I told you this one, or did we talk on the podcast about a BMI?
We might have. You and I have definitely talked about BMI. I'm not sure if we talked about it on the podcast, but
So yeah, BMI, and I think mostly if you have a general up-to-date understanding of how humans work in nutrition and weight, BMI is really, really dumb because it's really just a factor of height and mass or weight, which doesn't account for lots of things. But doctors use it as a individual tool. So some things about BMI, I forget what country it came from, but it was actually created for meta-analysis of populations, not to use for individuals. So it never was intended to like look at a person, look at their height and weight and say, boom, you too big. It was used for population analysis. And second to that, BMI was created without women in the cohort in the study. And so it definitely doesn't work for women. But it turns out that's what happens with most of medicine, or did. So another example of that is erectile dysfunction, which affects approximately 20% of men. There's something like 1.4 billion. Let me see what that time range is for, but we'll just do ratios. I forget what the time range is for in research, and we'll just say research and like medicine production, whatever. At the same time, for menopausal, perimenopausal, 40 million was spent.
holy fuck.
Yeah, so boners are really important to like, same thing if you go look at actual medical research out there, it's staggering. Most doctors, they might get, unless you go into OBGYN, which even OBGYN aren't really taught about menopause or perimenopause because they're focused on birth, on early stage reproduction. But yeah, so we don't really care. We just toss them out aside. Oh, I do have another quiz question for you. Have you heard about, this is one that probably hits your men's rights activities in the past. Have you heard about like male menopause and why women need to shut the fuck up because we have to deal with it too? I know I keep saying medi and it's meno, but
I have not heard of, sorry, male menopause?
Yeah. So we lose testosterone. So a lot of guys are like, oh, get the fuck over it. Like we're losing our, like a hormone too. Here's the big difference. We essentially, after the age of 30, lose 1% of our testosterone through end of life. That's pretty consistent when you're talking about sperm and other things. That is kind of the rate. Same thing with muscle loss for men. For women, they hit a giant fucking cliff for a number of things, including mental health.
I did see that they're starting to do like basically giving you more estrogen externally now to help with menopause, and it's like
for perimenopause, my understanding is your body acclimates once it's completely dead. Not the body, but the ovarians and the processes. But where they're finding it to be incredibly beneficial is in one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it today is in that perimenopause period, because what it's able to do is keep your body from starving it and like having wild fluctuations. I think I told you why. The reason why you have fluctuations, very layman and probably not completely right, is that as your eggs get lower, the ovaries are like, oh shit, I gotta make myself viable for as long as I can, but it's no longer creating enough estrogen to run the system correctly. And so your brain starts sending other things. There's other types of chemicals and that push the ovaries harder. And so in having to do that, the brain trying to essentially push the ovaries into overdrive as they're trying to hold on, it sends out other chemicals that get really high, like FSRs or something like that. And then it also just deregulates the whole thing because it's on the way out. I'll take a pause there. Questions? Concerns?
Menopause? You're going to take a menopause right now?
We're in our...
Well, it's a meta-pause, to be clear.
Meta-perimenopause.
First question, what is the difference between menopause and metapod?
Metapod is one of my least favorite Pokemon, and we're going to be talking about Pokemon later.
Yeah.
Hey, man, have you seen that thing where this guy is going out there buying all the first-gen Kabutos?
Kabuto?
Kabuto?
Oh my God.
Kabuto?
Kabuto, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so
I have one of those.
Yeah, you have a first gen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like the shadow box or the thing that actually says first gen?
The thing that actually says first gen on it.
Nice. I have a couple of them. The last one he purchased, granted it was for charity, he spent $55K on them. He has like 1,400 of these first gen. He's trying to do all of them. Like now,
For
Logan
Kabuto,
Paul and
not
Post Malone are
Kabutox.
getting. No. This is the base one. Yeah, he's trying to get all of them. And at that point, he corners the market, and then he has a fucking army. Anyway, so I was talking about things like for women, for us, it's a gradual decline that we kind of adapt to, and it's not nearly as harsh. For women, a bunch of stuff drops off like the face of the earth, essentially, as your estrogen levels get lower. So giant ones, muscle loss and bone density loss. That's one of the reasons why women have to deal with that and we don't. It is incredible. Like your 10-20% drops in very short periods of time. And we just don't study it or support them, which is insane because if a wiener stopped working for all men, it dropped off a wiener cliff when you hit 40, we would have solved that problem, which we kind of did. Like ours is even like less dramatic. The other one, and the big ones I want to take away for you, are mental health. And so the rate of SSRIs given to women dramatically increased during perimenopause, and so do suicides. And so this is a period of time where if those things start to happen, it actually has an acronym for it. Women like go to their doctors so often and they don't know what to say because they are not informed and their doctors are not well educated. I think I was saying before, oftentimes they'll get one class on menopause and nothing on perimenopause. And so doctors are not equipped, even OBGYNs. And it essentially results in women going and being like, I don't feel like myself. And that like IDFM is what they call it. And so, yeah, watch out. Like, look for that. For our friends that are females, brain fog is a massive one. Like true brain fog, like deep depression. It has a lot of like running out of estrogen to me sounds a hell of a lot like depression. And so unsurprisingly, SSRI use and suicides go up dramatically. And then they tail off after you hit menopause. So
there's like it's another cliff of like if you survive past this point, you're gonna do much better.
And it's weird that your body doesn't really adapt until it's completely gone. But you have possibly this 4 to 10 plus year situation where it essentially feels like you're like deep brain fog, sadness, not feeling like yourself, muscle loss. That sounds fucking awful. So I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know. We are progressive. We are progressive, Ashton.
Very progressive. Very progressive.
And I don't think I knew almost any of that. So there you go.
Man, that's
You want to give it a quick category?
Yeah.
Let's partner on this one because I did not do it for this one. This is a bad life experience that a lot of people are going to go through.
Yeah, it's like a universal bad life.
It has some wacky history in it, although I don't want to do that one. We got a social norm and special treasures. Oh,
body shit might be good if we have a category for body shit. And if not, maybe we should have a category for body shit.
We have biological compute, this is a version of it.
Yeah. It does fit biological compute. Interesting. Do you have the tier list up?
I do. Oh, the PowerPoint? I do not.
Yeah, here, I can grab it.
Oh, no, I can add the icon too.
Yeah, I have a tab called Icons in Waiting.
No, I put one in there. I didn't want to put this one, so I didn't want to blow my surprise.
Me full screen this and zoom in. Good Lord, did you... There we go. For a second, I thought you rated the film Catch Me If You Can.
Check out this one. It's pretty good. I think so. Let me add it.
Okay, so we're back on the tier list. Oh, wow. Nope, went away.
I now have to fix it.
Alan keeps trying to eat my lucky coin.
Oh, give it to him.
No.
Yeah,
so let's call this... What would happen if he ate that?
Let's call this biological compute. We'll give it 3 fresh new categories. The first one is fairness, and I'm going to give this... Do we do 1 out of 5 or 10?
I mean, hey, it doesn't matter. We're going to put it on the tier list anyway, so rate it how you feel, I've been giving them numbers, but I don't think it really matters. It's
all right.
Say it with your chest, say it with your gut.
Fairness 1. What's a word for not entertaining, but interesting? But sadly interesting? Something like that?
Yeah.
I'm going to give that a 4. Usefulness, I'm going to give that a 5 because this is a bunch of knowledge that I can now apply to life and better understand half the population around me, possibly.
Yeah. It is very useful in that sense, like, perimenopause should have been a penis. This is such a good icon. Yeah, so it's interesting. Are we ranking the concept of perimenopause or, what are we ranking here?
I would say, for me, the intent of it was an understanding. So it's the understanding of it, not the thing itself.
Okay, so the understanding of it, that's pretty helpful.
I'm going to say that's B or A. Let me look
I'm going to say
A.
Yeah, I would say A tier 2 because that's like very helpful knowledge to have. So
agree.
knowledge of perimenopause goes in A tier. I think that makes sense to me.
Should have been a penis.
Should have been a penis. Wow.
Should have
Thank you
been
for
a
that.
penis.
That was good education.
You're welcome.
And I like when I learn something new on this podcast. And, you know,
I'll send
I
you
like
the
when
actual
it's not about
podcast.
killing people, too.
We'll link it too. That might make it feel better. All right, DB
we'll
Cooper
link it
me.
in the show notes. Okay.
DP Cooper
Let me
me.
pull up my
Double penetrate
PowerPoint
me with DB Cooper.
presentation. Boy, this dog's not chewing on anything. He's in menace mode for some reason. All right, shares. Okay, welcome to DB Cooper, a review everything special presentation. I call it that because I've decided to only do one item this week, and I just went deep down this rabbit hole on DB Cooper. We talked about our love of heists, I think like 1 or 2 episodes ago when we were talking about the Louvre heist, and so I kind of wanted to bring that back around. This story goes all the way back to 1971, and it's weird because it kind of parallels last week. We're taking a plane ride from Portland to Seattle.
Yikes.
Yeah, I know,
Yikes.
right? Hopefully this one is going to be more fun. So, fun fact, the DB Cooper hijacking is actually the only unsolved plane hijacking case in history. Because when you think about it, when people are hijacking a fucking plane, they're usually, it's a small plane, you know, not a lot of places for them to go. My first exposure to this story was actually, I'm going to go back to another item we had, Ripley's Believe It or Not in Newport, Oregon. There was, in the very same diorama that there was a Sasquatch figure, it was basically dioramas.
So the reason why you got so into DB Cooper is because as a child, it was essentially presented to you as a mystery as great as Bigfoot.
Literally.
Okay.
So in the same diorama as Bigfoot,
Checks out.
you'd see Bigfoot, and then you'd see a man in sunglasses hanging from a parachute in the woods. And when you walked around the corner, he was no longer there because they had like a neat mirror trick, made it look like he disappeared as soon as you went around the corner. Very cool. So for those who don't know who DB Cooper is, he hijacked a plane in the early 1970s by threatening everybody on board with a bomb. So Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 on Thanksgiving. He settled in the rear seat of the 727, lit a cigarette, and ordered a bourbon and soda. Cool guy so far.
This guy's
Then he
bad.
handed a note to a 23-year-old flight attendant that said, "I have a bomb in my briefcase." And then it said, "I want you to sit next to me." Okay, so he passes it to his flight attendant, says he has a bomb, and says, "Come sit next to me." So the flight attendant did as instructed. He told her that the rest of his demands were $200,000 for parachutes, and they were going to be delivered upon landing at SeaTac Airport. So while police and airline staff on the ground scrambled to assemble the money and the chutes, the pilots flew in circles above Seattle. So during this time, it is said that Cooper was generally a pretty chill guy. Chatted with the flight staff and was like positive with the other passengers. Most of them actually never learned what was going on, and they were told that they were burning fuel because of the mechanical issues. So this plane that's supposed to be a 40-minute flight circled for 3.5 hours in the air
Okay.
as they waited for all of DB's demands to be met. So they finally land after 3.5 hours in the air. Cooper gets the money and releases the passengers.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
And, yeah.
So most of the so he stayed with his bourbon and soda and his
He
cigarette,
just hung out in his seat.
and he would relay discreetly what he wanted to the flight attendant, and then the flight attendant would go. But everything else on the plane generally was no one really knew that he was holding them up. Okay.
100%. So there's even an account of a passenger coming up and like kind of trying to hassle him at one point, and he eventually got them to go away, but like he didn't lose his cool with this passenger who's being kind of a dick. And so he was just like generally a very chill guy. And while he's even like, so they get the money, he releases the passengers, and as he's counting it, he offers to give some to the flight attendants, and they decline, saying gratuity is against company policy, which I think is hilarious.
God, I hope they actually got some. Yeah, like they were like, and they hit it.
Yeah, so it's funny, we'll talk about some of the money later because some of it does reemerge. But so 2 of the 6 crew members get dismissed, the other 4 stay on. The plane gets refueled, and Cooper says, "You're flying to Mexico. So you're going to go to Reno first, and then you're going to refuel in Yuma, and then you're going to go to Mexico." And he said, "Fly at the minimum viable airspeed without stalling the plane."
Okay.
Which should have been the first big tip. Now, here's the crazy shit. The weather's bad. It's Thanksgiving in the Pacific Northwest. There's a thunderstorm happening, and it's generally a rough flight already. And so they start their flight towards Reno. And during the first leg with the crew in the cockpit, Cooper is chatting with them, and he says, "All right, everybody, you go up in front of this partition and open the rear stairs." And they're like, "We can't open the rear stairs safely and then land." And he's like, "Do it. Open the the stairs on the back of the plane. And all planes have stairs on the back, or at least they did, that they could lower for getting cargo out. Since this, there's actually a safety mechanism that does not allow them to be lowered mid-flight to prevent this from happening again. But so he sends everybody up to the front of the cabin and he says, do not come back here. Do not contact me or the bomb goes off. And he takes his parachutes, he goes to the back of the stairs, and they try and radio him a few times, and they get nothing back, and the stairs open, and eventually they land, and he's gone.
Wait. So this is after he lands once already, right? And so passengers get off.
They land in Seattle. Yeah, they land in Seattle. Passengers get off, all of them, and then he keeps four of the 6 crew members on board with him.
Okay, so those are the ones he's like, get up to the front.
Yep.
I gotta do a dirty thing.
And like, which is a little weird, right? Because like, why are you going to do that if you're going to jump out the back of a plane? Maybe they're going to try and stop him, but they searched the plane because they're not 100% sure he jumped because they think that's a really stupid move to jump in a thunderstorm. But he's gone. And this is like, there's another fun fact here, which is part of the reason that airports now all have metal detectors. This was sort of the last straw. There was a bunch of hijackings in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
And it was just people bringing guns and shits on a plane because they could.
No, you saw
no metal
like
detectors.
Narcos, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, but this is the incident that was like, all right, fuck it. We need metal detectors now. So he jumps out of the plane and he's never been found. He's never heard from again. He's never seen again. There's nobody is arrested. There's some suspects, which we'll get into in a minute, but nobody is ever found.
Any hints that anyone on as part of like the plane crew, whatever, like that he had help from the inside? Or
it's as far as everybody's concerned in the FBI. So I read they made all of their documents public.
Well,
from this investigation.
Sure they did.
And so
I've been waiting for the DB list forever. It's probably redacted.
Yeah, that plane was weirdly headed to an island.
Ugh.
But there's no evidence that anybody was helping him, that he was just a lone wolf. And I just pause there and get a baseline.
With those cheekbones?
With that jawline. Pretty cool, right? Like, as far as a baseline for this crime so far, like, didn't hurt anybody, didn't even really scare anybody or ruin anybody's day. He just did kind of a cool crime and then jumped out and disappeared.
This sounds like he had a date, like a pretty sweet date. I mean, he was in a position of power, but I don't know, man. I hope he was a chill hang. He seems like a chill hang.
That's what all the flight attendants said. They say he was very polite. He was a very chill hang, which is great. So, like, for me,
if I was a criminal like that, I definitely would be a sweetheart criminal, I think. Not like the Vecna version. If I had Vecna powers, not a sweetheart. But if I was a like criminal with like my skill set, I would people please until I got away with it or went to jail.
Yeah, I mean, that's like kind of what the outlaws did in the Wild West, right? They were just, people liked them enough that they would get away.
It's like most work meetings.
Yeah. So I think the baseline, this is A tier for me, like so far. I really like it. But let's talk about what we do know and what the evidence we have is. So they tested his tie, which they found because it was a clip-on tie that he left on the plane.
This is the first points against him, unless, okay, sorry, keep going.
There's no hair or anything on it. There's no DNA testing they can do on the tie. They did find metal particles that might have come from an airline manufacturing facility. So there is a suspicion that he was potentially connected to Boeing, who made the plane that he was on, and then he had
and he came
like
out
an intricate knowledge of the plane itself to know how fast it could go for him to jump out of it. When they asked, like, they basically found out he's also like a terrible skydiver. They asked professionals, and they're like, no experienced parachutist would have ever jumped in the pitch black night in the rain with a 200-mile-an-hour wind in his face, wearing loafers and a trench coat.
What was it?
Like,
do we
was
know
not
that?
Dressed for it.
Do we know the elevation of the plane?
I don't. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
You have to be pretty low to be able to do that.
Well, so he did it pretty soon after takeoff, 10,000 feet.
Oh, money was found in the Columbia River? That's not good. I thought it was found in circulation.
No, so no money has been found in circulation. Obviously, the bills were marked. In 1980, there was a child's discovery that reignited mystery, like the interest in the mystery. Brian Ingram, he was 8 and was digging in the sand on the banks of the Columbia River when he found a bundle of rotting $20 bills that totaled $5,800. And they matched the bills that Cooper was given. So at least some of them washed in a river. And as a kid who grew up on the banks of the Columbia, this inspired me. Mostly when I was looking on the Columbia River, all I found was sketchy tent cities and trash. But, I always held out hope that I would find cool shit like that. And more importantly, once they tested the bills and determined that they were in fact the ones from the DB Cooper heist, they let the kid keep the money, and he sold 15 of the bills for $37,000.
I forget how I know this, and I think it's real. How do I know this? So there's well, I don't know if it's still there, but there was a forensic office as a part of the money, whatever the money minting thing is in the government. And if you ended up with bills like this, even like small portions of them, it doesn't matter if they were like they would just look like a bag of slurry. You could take that to them and be like, "Can you figure this out?" And they will try.
Yeah, it's like the way that they sequentially print the bills and all that lets them figure out exactly where they've been, which is kind of crazy. But so they determined this is probably money from the DB Cooper hijacking, but that's it. That's the only evidence we have.
That's where it ends, the trail?
That's where the trail ends. But there are several people that are suspected of being DB Cooper, and I'm going to walk through them. So this is Richard McCoy Jr. 5 months after the DB Cooper hijacking, he hijacks a plane and asks for even more money and 4 parachutes. Very similar crime. Jumps out the back of the plane, but this dummy gets caught and ends up going.
He looks like the sketch photo. Did this guy have any connections to Boeing?
So no, did not have any connections to Boeing, but was known for basically committing crimes. He goes to prison. 2 years later, escapes by hijacking a garbage truck and then dies in a shootout. But his kids were pretty sure that he was DB Cooper. They found a stash parachute in their barn that looked like it could have been from the original heist, and a logbook that put him at the scene of the crime during the time it was committed. And that evidence was presented to the FBI. But the FBI investigation said that he didn't quite match the description of DB, and flight attendants said it's not the same person when they were shown.
This guy's CIA inside. There's a reason, man. There's a reason.
Yeah, there has to be. Yeah. And so additionally, they did say they think he was a copycat of the DB Cooper, which not sure about that. But let's go to I forgot I put 2. So I ranked him as B tier because I was like, this is pretty good, but
I don't know, man. I want to push you up to A, but I want to see who else. That guy
Sheridan
has way
Peterson,
fatter face.
Yeah. He wrote the manual of the plane that DB jumped out of, so he has the connection to Boeing. He's an accomplished skydiver, which honestly is points against him. Blue eyes, not brown, and has the important thing that he says he was in Nepal. Yeah, but this in Nepal thing is a little makes him a little suspect, so I put him in F tier. I don't think that he was DB Cooper. Robert Rackstraw,
corroborated? Is that how you say that?
Believe it was corroborated, but there's still some people who are like, nah, it's him.
No way, his face is too fat. This guy looks like a fucking loser. F tier. Get him the fuck out of the PowerPoint.
He looks like a Bond villain. All right.
You look like a bomb!
Robert Rackstraw, a little closer. Kind of looks like Michael Fassbender, honestly. Former pilot, paratrooper. Again, DB, not a good skydiver, so maybe not. A lot of crime. Faked his own death. And there were some investigators, like independently, that made a Netflix documentary that was about like, this is the guy. This is DB Cooper. And I looked into them, and it's mostly just conspiracy theorists spouting shit and trying to come up with rumors and saying they solved the case. And they're like, the CIA is trying to cover this up. We found him. And it's like, not really. But the prevailing, so D tier, because they at least had some evidence, but not great. The prevailing theory is that he's just super dead. But the FBI has said that like all of their evidence is that this dude just did not survive the jump and died in the Pacific Northwest rainforest.
How was the money secure? Do you have a theory, or is there something that you read that helped explain why only a small amount of money was found?
No, but I mean, imagine if he fell into a river. And then like, if he fell into a river, then it's definitely plausible that only some of that would come up.
Well, I guess that my question is, was it in like a metal briefcase? That like, how did they give him the money?
I believe it was just in a bag.
Oh, okay. That was
It was
dumb.
in a loose bag.
Well, if it's in a loose bag, though, I don't know. Maybe just some came out when he was running.
Yeah.
I want him to be alive. I want him to be alive for sure.
So do I, and that's the thing, right? Like, this is still a great open case. There's never been any body found. Nobody has found the parachute, and I think part of the reason is the forests in the Pacific Northwest are big, and there's a lot of hidden stuff in there, like Bigfoot, But I don't know. So I like to believe that he might still be out there as well. But that's it. That's DB Cooper.
I hate fucking pumpkins.
You hate David S.
I
Pumpkins?
hate
Any
David Pumpkins.
questions?
Ugh. Now I have to. I want to watch that stupid David Pumpkins show. Pumpkins.
Yeah.
No, that was cool. I want to go. That's cool.
Hey, look.
My favorite part is that he seemed like a dude, right?
Yeah.
Like he was chill about it.
Yeah, he seems like a chill dude. And I like crimes where nobody gets hurt except for the financial system. And yeah, so for that reason, like, honestly, I think I kind of want to put the DB Cooper disappearance in A or B tier because it's really fun, and I feel like there's still more to get out of it as well.
Let me.
Also, here's my icon for it.
I mean, beats the hell out of Superman. So
Yeah. Why is the sizing not working right on this image? It really like is freaking the fuck out. All right. DB Cooper disappearance. It's going in A tier. Here it is.
what if we found him, dude? Ashton,
But that's the new podcast.
quit your job.
We find DB Cooper. I'm close. I'm
I mean-
close. I'm getting returned to office. This could be the new path for me.
Hey, you RTO this boy, and you miss one more one-on-one to play Mega Bonk and lie about it. That's it. 3 strikes and you're out, my dude.
Yeah. Why did all of our icons get so blurry?
They didn't. That something's happened. Are you using all? Wait, are you using the web browser?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that.
It's funny because they actually don't like that blurry on
No,
my
they're not blurry.
shit. All right. Bring us home.
All right, things are missing. I had 3 other ones. I was going to tell you a hyper local story in hopes that you could get some TikToks for you, bud.
Ooh, I like that.
But
we love
the story,
hyperlocal stories.
so let me run it by you just to see if you think it'd be interesting enough. And so, do you know the Weyerhaeusen company? That's not how you say it, but they're down Tukwila area. I think they were. I think a big like a massive logging and paper company that was
Okay.
like really big in this area. Okay, so in the 1900s, lots of wood here, trees, right? So the son, the little kid Georgie, he's coming home from school. I don't know, he was allowed to walk by himself. And 2 guys were like, "Hey, Georgie, you want to come with us?" He's like, "I probably shouldn't." And they're like, "You're going to anyways." And so these 2, and he was the son of the warehouse. And I said, "Okay." They take him into the woods. They drive to like Mount St. Helens, pretty far away.
Near DB Cooper.
And this is where they really innovated. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and it almost made the cut. The way that they held him, and they did it like 3 times. They dug a hole, put him in it, and then put something on top of the hole, and just made him hang out there.
Whoa. It's very Sons of the Forest of them.
But you don't hear a lot about that. Like, you hear about, like, obviously putting corpses in holes. But these guys, I mean,
They put live kids in holes.
yeah, like not a lot of sound getting out from there. I don't know. Something about that really tickled me. Then those idiots drove to Idaho. They went to like Boise or Coeur d'Alene or something. And that's where I think they actually lived. It may surprise you to find out they weren't really buttoned up. I think you're probably based on using holes as your primary force of entrapment. And so they drove, this is all like a 3-day period. They drove a lot. They put him in another hole, and then they tried to do a pretty intricate FBI give me money thing. And so the first night they did it, there was like 6 or 7 checkpoints that the dad had to drop the money off, and you wouldn't find the next checkpoint until you read the note from the last checkpoint. And they screwed up on the last one, and he couldn't figure out how to get the last note. And so then they called the FBI the next day and were like, "Hey, you didn't do our puzzle." And they were like, "Your puzzle fucking ended early, idiots." And so then the next night, I think they did it again, or like the next day, because this is all like a 4-day period. And it did eventually, someone ran out, got the money. The notes did leave. I think they just said like, "Hey, your son will be in Washington and we'll let him go." And so why I found this really interesting is because Georgie, the last place they stashed him was right down the road from me. And the reason I know that area is because that's where I went to go figure out where to rockhound Amber. There's an old coal mine that used to be owned by them on Tiger Mountain. And they had him in the guard box, like down, like on the hike that I do. And then once they got the money, they essentially told him, "Hey, we're going to leave you here. You're going to be fine. Someone's going to come find you." He was like, "Okay." And they left, and he didn't stay there. He walked to a farmhouse on Tiger Mountain Road, I think, and some people adopted him. And by that, I mean, they took him in, they figured out what was going on, and then they drove his ass to Tacoma. So yeah, I thought that was fun.
Whoa, that is a pretty good, that is a wild story of just like, yeah, we just kidnapped a kid, dug a hole, ransomed him. Did they
Yeah.
get caught?
So they found the money trail. They found the money being in circulation, and they tracked them all down, including all the accomplices, and they all got.
That's insane.
Here's my real one. So things that are missing, I chose missing no. Or missing number, and that is a glitched Pokemon. I think in red, blue, maybe yellow. It has.
I think they might have patched it out in yellow, but I can't remember.
I think they did. It has been acknowledged by Nintendo, and in fact, they left it in one of the emulated versions of it as kind of like I don't know, a fun thing to find. So missing no. Do you remember missing no? Did you ever find missing no? Did you find them on purpose? Did you find them by accident? I'm gendering them. I don't. They probably aren't gendered at all. Although they do have a type. They have two types. It's a hybrid. Tell me what they are. If you get this fucking correct, $100. Seriously.
Whoa. Okay. I don't think I actually know the types of missing no, so I'm gonna guess. Okay. I'm gonna say normal type.
That's one of them.
Ghost type.
The reason I was pretty confident is because it's bird type, which was a
holy shit
prototype for flying type, and so it never made it in. But yeah, that's what it says when you find it. It's bird type, normal bird. It also
that's amazing.
Missing no is not a real Pokemon. I have a little bit of technical information that I'll share on it that's like 80% correct. If you inadvertently or once you knew the mechanism, there's a couple of ways to find them. For me, I found it by accident with my friend David Gould. I put in my notes, whenever I think of someone from my past, I kind of want to check an obituary just real quick. I'm only 40, but like I kind of want to know.
But you never know.
He may be a musician now. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in like 15 years. But me and David Gould found him by accident. This was like pre-internet. So like you didn't go to forums or anything. And yeah. And so we got super excited. We found a treasure. We thought we were the only ones. I don't know where we were because in research, I found that a couple kids found them. And we wrote a letter. Our parents helped us write. I guess we could write it at that point because we were like 13. But we mailed a letter to Nintendo to let them know our great discovery. And they wrote us a letter back thanking us.
Did they really?
Yeah, and I thought that was really, really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So missing no. General way that it happened is that the Game Boy, honestly, a lot of Nintendo devices are heavily constrained on the memory that they have. And so developers got really, really tricky on freeing up memory to do things temporarily. And so there was a lot of little things that they did to be able to make the game run. And so in this case, there's a couple different ways that it happened. The way that it probably happened for us, which I think was the most common, was that there was a place where you could trade. I think it was called, you probably know this, like Cinnabar?
Yes, Cinnabar Island.
Cinnabar Island. So if you could trade a Pokemon there for some reason with an NPC. And if you did that, for some reason, it temporarily wrote something related to you being at Cinnabar into memory in case it had to be used. And so there was a number and a register, right, just sitting there. But then if you flew immediately to the shores, do you know the name of the shores?
I think it's
where
still,
you could surf. You could surf.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's just Cinnabar Island, the surfing off the coast of Cinnabar Island.
Yeah, so there's something...
And you go up and down.
So part of it is the surfing, the water. It's actually a hack. It's land. And so they did something different, but it didn't have a Pokemon table in it by default. And so if you did that sequence immediately, what would happen is it would try to load that number that it put into temporary memory. And again, this is like 70% correct, so fuck off. Into temporary memory. And then if a Pokemon was found, and because there wasn't a default table for the shores or for surfing, it loaded that number. And if that number wasn't a valid Pokemon number, of which I think like 100 of the registry values weren't used, so like anything above 151, right? If whatever that was, they would try to pull it up as a Pokemon, and if it wasn't a valid Pokemon, it was missing no. And so the most common missing no was that that number wasn't associated with any sprites, and so you would get a hodgepodge. It'd be a random number converted into sprites. That's why he looks like a weird little square guy. There's a couple of other weird circumstances you could do it that were more glitches that once people knew, they would do it, and they would allow you to essentially like create a Mewtwo for free. But it was all
duplicate items too.
That's how that's the
like
biggest
999 Master Balls.
Yeah, I corrupted my game, which Nintendo put a warning out there to scare people from trying to do this, but it wasn't because it was corrupting your game. It was because they knew it allowed people to clone things. So they tried to scare the community without the internet being around into not doing it by saying you're going to lose your game. But that wasn't really true unless you like did a very specific thing a bunch. And yeah, so there's a couple different instances. One of the interesting things was sometimes in certain circumstances, you can get missing no with a actual sprite that was valid. And so your Pokemon would look like a building or like one of two Pokemon. And that for somehow that was related to the first letter in the name you chose. And so if you chose a name that started with W and you did this thing, you would get like a Kabuto missing no, which I didn't know until I looked this up. So yeah, this was super fun when I was little. I thought we found something unique. I thought we were explorers, and we kind of were. Especially like I miss pre-internet and very early internet where things were like using. Man, do you remember Game Genie? I used to have a Game Genie. Fucking, you'd have to slam this machine into a Sega or a Nintendo. So there was a machine in a machine, and then you had to put the cartridge in the machine, and then you had to go to a book and you had to put codes in, and then Game Genie would manipulate those same registers in the same way that we accidentally did to get missing no to make other things happen in the game. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's like the fact that there was an actual peripheral for cheating is insane.
Yeah, so cool.
And just the fact that like those old systems, like whenever they release new peripherals, the goal was just to stack them on top of each other. So it's like, and by the time like your Sega CD was like slapped on the side and stuff, like it was crazy.
The most wild, I have two that are the most wild. I know we're going long. The first one was, it had something to do with like Sonic and Knuckles 3 and 4, or like Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, but you put one game had a hole in it that you put the other game into. It was a double game. How cool is that? So you bought like Sonic really and cool. Knuckles, and then you plugged Sonic 3 into it, and then you were able to like play a version of Sonic, but with like Sonic 3, but with Knuckles as a character, or something like that. So cool. I also had Sega Channel, and I don't know why I convinced my parents to get a early cable like live service where you could play 20 different Sega games or 12 games a month through it was a cartridge with a cable in it, like cable internet, and this was in
this is Game Pass. This is the very first Game Pass.
Yeah, but in 1995.
That is crazy.
It is crazy.
I didn't know that existed.
Go watch a documentary on Sega Channel. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so that was another one where you just put a thing in a thing. Man, so cool.
Yeah.
Man, I had one more missing no fact. But yeah, you said you had a missing no story.
Yeah. So the first time I found missing no, and this is going to be like maybe the most 90s childhood thing ever. I got on a plane with my grandma. We were going to Hawaii. There's double funny thing to this story. This is my mom's mom, and she was like afro, smoked like several packs a day.
Oh, not an actual afro.
Like,
this is a white person.
Yeah, but she had like curly hair that poofed out into a big afro.
Nana hair.
Yeah, nana hair. And like smoked a lot, worked at a missile defense system place, and was like your classic just pissed off old woman all the time, but she was young. And so she won a trip in a like a raffle at my elementary school to go to Maui. And she said, fuck that. I'd rather go to Oahu so that I can go shopping in Waikiki. So she canceled the second half of the trip to Maui and just said, we're just going to Waikiki and I'll bring you with me. So we went. Yeah,
wait. But did she do the early, like what? She had a ticket that had us layover and she bailed on the final stop?
Yes.
They hate when you do that. Yeah.
And instead decided to stay in Oahu because there was better shopping. But on that plane ride, most importantly, was when I got my first Game Boy Color. So I sat down in my seat and my grandma handed me, I don't know if you remember this, there was a Game Boy Color that was basically pink. And I was like, God damn it, Grandma. But I was pretty stoked to have a Game Boy Color. I just wasn't stoked that it was pink. And she gave me a pack of 8 AA batteries so that I could last for the entire flight. And I had my Pokemon Blue with me, or Pokemon Red. I had Pokemon Red. And I was playing it.
You would be a Red. You were Horde. I was Alliance. You were Pokemon Red. I was Pokemon Blue. You're a classic David Gould. Rest in peace.
What was your starter? Because mine was Charmander.
Oh, it was Squirtle.
Yeah, Charmander was the best. But so I was.
Actually, it was Venus. It was the little green guy, Bulbasaur.
Oh yeah, Bulbasaur is pretty good too. But they're all.
I ran with both. I don't fuck with Charmander. I don't fuck with Charizard. I don't fuck with Charmander.
Hey, they're the best. Anyways, I'm playing Pokemon in my seat, and I'm pretty far in the game at this point. And this kid behind me is looking over the chair, watching me play Pokemon on my.
Get your own grandma, kid.
He starts talking to me. And he's eventually like, hey, do you want to see this really cool trick? And I was like,
that is cool.
And I was really sus because I was like, I don't want to hand my Game Boy over to this person behind me.
Ooh.
But also we're on a plane, so where's he going to go with it? So I hand him my Game Boy, and then he shows me how to get Missing No. And so like we're on this flight to Hawaii.
Did you do?
And the duplication. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but he showed me how to duplicate items with Missing No.
But you don't remember how you got Missing No? Did you? I
know I was surfing up the coast and up and down the coast of Cinnabar Island. Like I know that's where I caught it.
prior to that, I want you to search in your brain. Was there an old man involved, of which you would call it the old man glitch? Did you talk to an old man?
That sounds really familiar, but I can't say for sure.
Man.
But anyways, so he showed me how to do it, and I got 999 Master Balls on that flight to Oahu and just caught everything in the game. After that, no problem. It was great. And
do you want to know how that duplication happened?
Yeah, I do. I'm very curious.
It was and again, this is like 40% right, so fuck off. It's a register overflow. And so what happens is for whatever sequence of events you did, it would inadvertently put a number into a register that was higher than 255 or whatever the max is. It's like bytes and bits and things. And it only did it to the register that controlled this number of things in the sixth position of your inventory. And so it would roll over from 0 back to its highest number or something. And so you would get a bunch of them.
Yeah, I remember having to specifically like position it in the inventory so that it would get the duplication.
Yeah, happy in six location. Stuff like that's cool.
Like, I mean, just like the idea of like a kid on an airplane being like, hey kid, check out this cool new trick. And so I did it there.
One of the things that I had read is that this was kind of obviously by accident, but this was kind of one of the first instances of emergent gameplay where people found a game within a game and kind of made it their own. In this case, it was a glitch, but then you would use it to do a bunch of different things that fundamentally changed the game, including allowing you to get Master Balls, which then allowed you to do a bunch of different things, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you're no longer limited in like what you can catch. Because I imagine in those original games, if you weren't smart enough to save scum, which was the way you did it, but for like any of the legendary birds,
the birds,
in the first Pokemon, you need to have a shit ton of Ultra Balls with you. Or if like you're a dumb kid and you use your Master Ball before you get to Mewtwo, then you're done for. You're cooked.
You probably use it on a Diglett, probably on a Dig Trio.
Well, it's a really good Dog Trio. I better get my Master Ball out.
Dog Trio.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So I think that was a pod. I'm not going to say bye and hang up because
we haven't ranked Missing No yet.
We need to rank Missing No. I had a category for it. I think I was waffling with Special Treasures, which is what I call your downstairs.
It's fair. You have a picture of me holding a special treasure from.
Not that one, but yeah, I closed it.
Missing No. Is this it? David, get the Nintendo.
David, get Nintendo on the line.
David, get Nintendo on the line.
So that is actually not AI. That's a typo because I gave it a prompt that was verbatim, so I had 2 spelling errors in my thing. It wasn't AI. It is AI, but not because of the spelling. That's on me, the human.
Yeah. This is pretty cool.
What's that?
Just the idea of Missing No. Missing No is pretty cool.
It is cool, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm gonna slow down my brain because obviously
I just saw the icon for Malaysia Flight 37. Amazing.
Let's call it Special Treasures. And so, just give it a fucking let's just give it a tier. I don't know. I find this fascinating. To me, this is easy BC. Probably, you know what? Hey, like, let's stop creating a normal distribution. Like, this is an A. Missing No is cool. Fight me on it.
Yeah. Missing No it was very cool. And like,
take off your shirt and fight me on it.
The emergent gameplay aspect of it as well, like that became so huge later. And I don't know, like having a bunch of Master Balls was fucking fun. It made the game better.
I have a signed headshot of Reggie because of it.
Wait, Reggie Fils-Aime?
That's not
true. Like the head of Nintendo?
No, Nintendo of America. Don't be fucking ignorant.
I'm listening to his audiobook right now. Right now it's a lot about him starting Panda Express and Pizza Hut.
You actually are listening to it?
Yeah, he's the guy who made Panda Express.
After Nintendo or after?
Before. He came from the fast food industry, and Panda Express was a sit down eating place, and he's like, hey, we could make billions with this if we make it drive through. And so he made the first drive-through Panda Express.
That kind of checks out because I feel like Nintendo has been trying to shove Kirby down my fucking mouth for 20 years.
Oh, dude, you gotta play Kirby in the Forgotten Realm.
I'm not playing Air Ride. I'm not playing Air Kirby. I'm not playing Kirby's Gobbletown.
I want to play Air Ride. I want to play Air Ride, but I don't have it yet.
Hey, look, the reason why I cut the podcast off is because we keep doing this, and then it gets longer and longer. And so if you need structure, and you do right now, give me an affirmation. I'm going to give you an affirmation, and then we're going to end this fucking pod.
Okay. My affirmation is that I appreciate you bringing me something that I learned new today. And it was a quiz that made me feel bad about what I knew, but in a way that was constructive and learned me something. And I learned that the follicles generate estrogen.
I think I was a little bit. You listen to. I'll send you the actual pod because I'm sure that's not. But it comes from that area, and once you get less of them, there's less of it, and then you get depressed maybe. My affirmation for you is I'm glad you had a birthday. That was super fun. And I love
man.
hanging out in person as much as this is fun. For some reason, it does different things. And so I appreciate you having a reason that we hung out in person. And I generally like hanging out with you and the crew.